whatever you might deem necessary. If you can ask her to do just that, make it look right, then I don't really care. I care for the result.
All right, sure.
Before I agree to that, I have to know. Is this going to put anyone in danger?
Oh, I don't think I'll make you pay for that one. Potentially.
Who?
Most likely Ambassador Wren, because he will be gone in a rather sensitive time frame, where something needs to happen without his presence.
So, Sip, do we know anything about him?
You might have read the name somewhere, but not really.
Mm. So Gil is gonna ask, would you say he's a good person? Or more like a businessman, perhaps?
I think that he is in the unfortunate position of being what he is and being associated with who he is associated with. I can also say that I would not mind him being gone permanently, although in that case he will just get replaced.
I see.
What is it that needs to be done?
What price should I put on that question? Kind of quirks an eyebrow. Are you sure those are the questions you want to ask? It's just going to spiral down into an endless loop of favors that you have to do for me. You should pay attention to what you ask.
Well, I do have a question. I'm not sure if you have the information for that. Do the Greys work for the Grey?
I'm not entirely sure I understand what you're trying to ask.
Might suspect that there may be some mole in the ranks. Someone who has perhaps taken advantage of their resources.
Could be. But I'm still waiting on your answer to my suggestion so that I can answer your initial question.
So you will give us the answers now?
I will give you the answer to your question, who this Graneth is, as well as I am able, if you agree to do this for me. Not right now, not even tomorrow. Just soon enough. You give me your promise, that'll be good enough for me.
I'm fine with it. I'm not overly concerned about a unknown.
Fancy shakes her head. She's not all right with it.
Grandma's reading Sam right now, and someone says, "I'm sorry, but I think I would need some more information. If I'm not sure this person, it is not. She says it doesn't feel right. And all this backhandedness.
She frowns a bit.
I need to know why."
Looking down on the table, drawing circles with her index finger. I see. I don't suppose I can blame you. I can assure you that it would be beneficial for the people of Freedom Sold if Ambassador Wren were gone during this particular election. Having him gone means that I can promise to certain people that they can act as they think they should without fear of being supervised by something that they cannot fight themselves.
Well, sometimes the benefit is coming from the shadows.
So
Perhaps
it
not
is.
always.
It is in order to keep this election more free, or is
Yes,
he corrupt? Is there?
the ambassador is not corrupt. He is simply intimidating in that he represents that which I wish to remove from this city because it has no place here.
So your motives are political, more or less.
My motives have to be political because I'm fighting politics. That is not easily done with swords.
Good thing too. The method then, using this sweetheart of his against him.
It would likely work. It would likely put him in the awkward situation that he is not supposed to associate with wielders. Not in that manner anyways, not in his position. Of course, if you can get him to leave some other way, convincing him perhaps, although that won't work.
Graham likes to fancy. So that would be a better solution.
Nancy looks slightly more convinced, but still unconvinced.
If there is a way to pull this job without killing or hurting anyone, I suppose I could agree with it.
I would like a yes or no, not an if, perhaps.
Fancy looks over at Graham.
Does you know enough about us to know to what extent we would go to do this? You know enough about us, I assume, to know what we would not do to accomplish this.
I know.
Hopefully, this mission of yours would not require us to do something we would not do. Otherwise, you would make liars of us.
I know enough about you that I know that you are able to do as I suggested. I know enough about you that you are not crazed murderers. I know enough about you that you don't really care too much about rules, which I like. I know enough about you that I think you have the combined brain power to think of some sort of solution. As long as I get the result, you can have your answer. You know what? I'll even give you 2 answers.
Graham looks to the rest of you.
Gil is gonna nod.
He is gone for a week, and that is all. Looks at the lady.
2 weeks, just to be safe.
Frowns and says, an attempt can be made, perhaps. I don't know how we will accomplish this, but I suppose it could be done.
Asking nicely seems to be the most obvious approach.
Graham nods.
Perhaps the 2 paramours have been separated for far too long, And perhaps it is time for their love to bloom fully, and they meet again, yes? And so enraptured by their love that they will forget time and space and place. He smiles slightly.
Graham looks to him, slightly confused. Looks too fancy. It's probably some poetry thing.
Yeah, it might be.
He'll look too.
Fancy isn't paying any attention to Henrika. Still looking at Graham.
Graham looks too fancy. Meets her eyes, trying to gauge what she's thinking.
Fancy looks like she is willing to follow Graham along with this, if Graham thinks it's okay.
Graham looks and says, the information could be very important to us. We will certainly do our best for this to be as it should be. We'll talk to him.
Oh, you don't quite understand how this works. I need a yes or a no. You need to give me something to hang on. And if it's just a promise that's good enough for me, although it wouldn't be good enough for most people, but that needs to be at least it.
Yes, I think we will try. And he leans back.
I don't think you'll like my answer for Granov, but I'll try to satisfy you nonetheless. Granov officially is a pencil pusher for the Order of the Grey. He's part of the administration. A sad man stuck behind a desk, organizing papers, no family. But just as there's more to the Order, there's more to him. I believe him to be not just what he pretends to be, at least. Officially, he never leaves town, working day and night, being the productive member of society that we should all aspire to be. But that's just a facade, of course. He is part of what I believe an independent element within the Grey, who do more than just serve as messengers. Being neutral in all things politics is a great reputation to have if you want to meddle. Twist a message here and there, your reputation making sure that nobody will even suspect you of a single lie, and you can do a lot of things.
Graham looks at her.
I also know that he is in charge of at least one of the Apocrisarius. I do not know which one. I know that
what?
Apocrisarius.
Fancy nods. She almost thinks of saying it out loud, but no, that's not how this transaction works.
Graham nods and says, yes, of course, America and the Apricus. You've heard of them.
It's a fancy title for the Grey Order's thugs. Turns out that if you want to send a rather sensitive message, it makes sense to send someone who will not be so easily disposed of. Don't shoot the messenger. Turns out if the messenger is someone you don't want to shoot, that problem does not come up a lot. As I was saying, I know that he has direct control of at least one of them. I know that it was him who, with surprising efficacy, organized the Wilder Court against you. I know that he has ulterior motives, although I'm not sure what these are. I know that you have been tools to one of his machinations. I do not know why. That is, I'm afraid, all I can tell you about Granov.
He is human.
Perhaps not. It is a surprisingly difficult question to answer.
He
has-
appears human.
Yes, he has. I know that he has ways to leave the building that the office of the Order of the Grey Scale is located in without being spotted by even the most adept spotters. I do not know how he does it, whether with some sort of magic or simple disguises, although the latter seems not quite correct. I do know that he appears in places that he shouldn't be able to reach in that speed as he does.
So, if we wanted to find out more on Coppergate, where would we go and who would we talk to?
I have friends in Coppergate that I could tell you about, I suppose. They would be able to perform whatever services you might need and have more updated information as well. Of course, they would have their own prices, but
Such information, their locations or how to find them would be good, I think. Sounds like we'll be going there rather soon. Thanks to the others.
their locations I cannot give you, but I can tell them to contact you.
I suppose that will suffice.
I did promise you 2 answers.
You say you do not know his motives.
I do not.
We could ask about the black stuff if he's the one producing it, or where it's produced, because we want to shut that down as well.
Well, sure. In the
Well,
worst
I
case,
believe-
she doesn't know.
He pretty much told us that he's the shapeshifter, so he's probably
Could I ask you about
behind,
Jax's
you know.
egg?
That is actually a question.
Could,
we
I
could, but
suppose.
And sent the Cloud Dragon to find him and tell him. Might be a bit specific. So just recently we worked with someone named Jax. Might know of this. He had lost an egg to some merchants. It would be a kindness to him if we could help find it. Maybe you would know something. Surely that's a commodity that is rather expensive to trade. And surely not done in the open either.
Quite sought after indeed. I do not know of this Jax in particular, nor of his egg. But I have indeed heard of movements collecting just those. I'm afraid I do not have any specific information to give you, but perhaps I could look into the matter. I know that eggs are a particularly effective method of controlling others. I do think that the people living in the desert do like to employ just that method.
Look at the others, then perhaps having you look into this matter could be the second answer we're looking for.
I can do that, yes.
Fine.
You know,
It seems right that Jax gets his egg back.
I'm not. Another small wrong to right in the world. Though it is worrying that someone is collecting them. I didn't know there was a great trade in that sort of thing.
Oh, there's a trade in everything you can imagine. As long as someone wants it, someone will supply just that.
Frowns. Society is a disgusting place.
Not to put any words in your mouths, but have you found that merchant you were looking for?
No. We have not.
She shrugs, smiles slightly.
That one you'll have for free. Just Matthew. You want to tell us his location, it sounds like?
Well, as it turns out, there's something I want from him, and since you're looking for him, we can probably find a compromise somewhere.
Probably.
If he is near Coppergate or in that direction, then it shouldn't be much of a problem, yes?
I'm afraid I do not know where he is, but I at least know who he is.
And what do you want from him?
I want one of the vials he is carrying, that's all.
For what?
For no purpose other than to study it.
Harkin frowns.
Graham frowns. Does she look like a necromancer?
I mean, not really.
You've seen a few in his day.
Compared to the necromancers currently at the table, no.
The stuff is exceedingly dangerous.
I'm aware of that. I am aware of what happened in Myerton. I'm aware of what might happen in other places. I wish to protect myself and my people from the effects, hence why I need information.
The thing you said about lying goes the other way around too, you know.
Yes.
Harkin nods.
Alright, Graham nods as well and says, so be it then. When we have defeated him, shall take one of those vials and make sure it reaches here.
Well, as I said, I do not know where he is, otherwise I would have tracked him down myself at this point, but I know that his name is Merrick Gernon. Was born in Broyleton, supposedly died on sea 2 years ago. The fishing vessel...
Repeat that name, please.
I'll write it down in chat in a moment. He supposedly died on sea 2 years ago, when his ship sunk. Wife and kids, surprisingly enough, in the mountains, small village. He left them, presumably to find his own fortune. A few months after his disappearance, he resurfaced, as it were. And that is when I believe he started peddling his wondrous cure to people. He works for someone, although I can't tell you exactly who it is. He gets approached by different people at different times, although I suspect that they might just be the same person. In my kind of business, you know, when someone wears a disguise, their behavior might change, but it's easy enough to spot the similarities. The haughty behavior is distinct, to say the least. He has the feel of a sorcerer, perhaps a wizard of some sort, using magic to disguise himself. Although our attempts at finding someone who might do this were limited at best.
I'm not. I suppose that's a little bit to go on. She
Anything
nods.
else?
Looks to the others. Graham doesn't really have anything else. He doesn't really like this
He
whole. It's yeah.
was possibly spotted heading into the mountains. There was a loose rumor to that. Would you at least point us in the direction of his home then? Perhaps he has gone back to that.
I believe that his hometown is called Granham, I think it was.
That's not a new name.
I guess I had to go for a moment. Did I miss anything important?
Yup.
Yep.
Check.
Granham.
Enrican and Graham decided to speak for the for everyone else and make a promise, another promise, and she accepted it without anyone else, like interjecting. So it's a promise that they made.
Which is
Whenever we
That we
find
will-
this man peddling his death wares, they're going to take a vial from him and give it to her to study for research.
oh boy.
And yes, Grinham is the name of the village we had heard before that we were considering going to ever so long ago.
Okay.
Mm-hmm.
Alright then. Quite the conspiracy afoot. But as I said, Graham doesn't have much else to talk to this one about. He doesn't really like her. She's like way suspicious and secretive and
She's like Dimmis, but shady as fuck. Dimmis is only slightly shady.
Well, we have enough to move on, and I somewhat don't really want to make any more promises to this one. So, yeah.
Yep, I'm fine for now.
Yeah, I'm good. You guys asked all the things I wanted to know.
Well, in that case, Anakin will start getting up from his seat. Looks at Ace and says, "Very well, we will see to our end of the bargains."
I don't think in my entire line of work I've ever seen an individual, let alone a group, of people who ran out of things that they want answers to. But suit yourselves, of course.
Depends on the price. When asking costs, one tends to get more frugal.
Well, perhaps I'll tell you the price first for whatever you might want to know another answer to. How about that?
that's what I want to know answers for. I doubt you could supply me with.
Like
She gives
could
us
at
a
least-
kind smile.
I could at least try.
Nods. He'll say, "How about this then? Where have I been for the last year?"
that's your deal, buddy. I'm not staying for that deal.
Yeah. And he'll stand because he doesn't expect an answer.
She raises her eyebrow. Well, I can't tell you exactly that, but I could find out, perhaps.
It's probably not worth the cost. I'm on the trail already.
She shrugs.
I will stand and say, why do the dead return from their graves after thousands of years? Gives her a smile slightly.
Now that I might have an answer to.
Quirks an eyebrow. And the price?
I think I'll give you that one for free. This. She kind of looks awkwardly to the other patrons in the building here. Looks back to you. There are things moving underground. Things that shouldn't be here in the first place. Things that were here before everything else. Do not ask me how I know this. Do not assume that it is something I should know. But do assume that I am not lying when I say that I know that things are moving.
It is very vague.
Afraid that's the best I can do.
Instructions. I didn't expect much in the first place. Thank you for your time regardless.
Gil's gonna look at her and say, when you say things that shouldn't be here, things that were here long ago, before anything else.
Yes.
What do you mean?
I'm saying that those who think that they were the first ones here were in fact not. I've said too much already, please.
She kinda lets out a sigh of relief almost. Here. Okay.
Henrikin looks at her. What happened at Dragon Hall? Do you know?
I do. Well, not exactly, but I have an idea.
His eyes thin. He looks at her. And the price?
Well, the answer is not going to satisfy you, so promise me a favor. That's all I want. Nothing major. Help in the future. There might be a situation where I am in a situation where someone like you would be rather helpful. The person sitting next to her looks rather oddly at her and then turns towards Enrikin.
Henrikin looks at her. There are limits to what I am prepared to do. I do have a conscience still.
Well, I know who you are. I know what you do. I know what you're good at. I have something that needs to be found, although it does not want to be found currently. It's something old, something personal in a sense. She pulls out her daggers, slowly, not in a threatening manner, but just putting them on the table. And they look rather odd.
Mm-hmm.
They have almost the length of small short swords, mirror images of each other, both lopsided in a sense, the blade only really sharp on one side, and jagged on the other side. As she kind of slides them together, the jagged parts fitting together rather perfectly, forming the hilt of a sword. The blade missing. Only like stubble of blade that would be the equivalent to the dagger's blades. I need to find the blade.
Fascinating. He looks at the sword. Is it? Can he sense any power from it?
Yes. Vaguely, but yes.
I do like unearthing old things and studying them and so on. I am not in the habit in giving out magical artifacts to, well, no offense, but shady characters who might, for all I know, be assassins.
I can't deny that I've ever killed someone, but that does not make me an assassin. Shady, sure, that's your opinion. The world forces me to be as I am.
No doubt.
To answer your question, or at least answer it as best as I am able, what happened in Dragon Hall? One could almost call an accident. But it did start. A lot of things. And it will happen again. Not the exact happenings as in Dragonhall, but the things that caused it are moving again, underground, deep.
And I can moves his jaw a little bit, sort of grinding his teeth, looking at her. I see. I am bound by my companions in our quest, but if I do get time, if I do get opportunity to search for your blade, I will do so. I'm also in the search of relics. And perhaps during that search, more things will come up.
She nods. Things might come up indeed.
He nods slowly. Alright then.
She puts back her daggers. At this point, her companion sitting next to her has the clear expression of, what the hell?
On his way out, Darren will sort of stop halfway and then sort of slowly turn back again. I don't suppose you know anything about the Scythe of Erasmus.
She frowns a bit. I perhaps know more than I should, but no. This is a question that I will not answer.
Alright then. I shall find the answers myself. Good day. Picks up his things from the other leg.
And looks the others. I suppose we have a job to do.
Yes. Yes, we do.
So, what exactly do you want to do here?
Well,
The
I would
night,
think that
the night is
going
thoroughly settled.
Smallest thing
Go
first, I say. Let's go and get the scales and get that sorted. So that's off our
do we
back.
need the scales though?
I don't know, don't we?
Graham's thought was we could go talk to him and be like, well, I mean, it sounds like there are people who might be out to get you, and they know that you have a lover and where she lives, and maybe like it would be both for the two of you if you just went there, stayed with her for 2 weeks until this thing blows over, and you can come back. Like nothing bad would have happened. It's really just for the best for both of you, so you can
would
stay happy.
need to be exceedingly convincing.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
With that we know about her. I mean, it's already.
We're gonna sneak up on him on his way home. We know.
Well,
We have the
Leave a note with a
photographs.
handprint.
I mean, we're not really the kind of people you say, no, you can't come in my door.
Yeah, but that would probably need someone who can, talk his way around situations.
Graham thinks he could talk to him. He's not super convincing, but I mean,
The
like,
scale is probably gonna help a lot in the convincing department.
but that is more of an implied threat, and Graham doesn't like that part.
I think it's already kind of an implied threat.
Well, it's best to imply a threat rather than, have him been in a dangerous situation. I mean, if he's just threatened and that keeps him safe, that's that's fine.
We just dress Dimas up as a murderer and have him visit him in the night with a dagger.
Dress me up as a murderer? Why don't I just
See,
go there?
The reason would be that I mean, he can't really go to the authorities if it's about her, right? And we don't really want to. I mean, it's a genuine warning, right?
It is, but it doesn't make it less of a threat.
Yeah, it's certainly
It's
blackmail, obviously. But, again, blackmail is better than have him assassinated or something.
But we could just knock him out and put him in a sack and like ship him off on a ship.
Grim has no real ill will to him, and I mean, we could not tell him, but in a way that's bad too, because then he will, like, something will happen to get him away. Since he doesn't care how, but permanent is better.
I mean, if we don't do it, someone else will. So we better,
no,
just
it's not
do
like
it
that.
the
It's more
best
like
way.
the best way seems for him to go there and like hang out, and then come back, and then there's gonna be some kerfuffle, but
the thing is not he's
Nobody
probably
used to
not
hurt.
gonna just listen to us because we told him so.
maybe not. But then we tried at least.
It's not really going to be good enough,
It's a start. Maybe he's a smart man and says, "Well, sounds like you know what you're talking about. I don't really want to deal with that sort of thing because I'm just like a bureaucrat telling him." So
Bureaucrat in him.
Well, if you want to try, I am most certainly not going to stop you. But
The thing I'm worried about is, if he doesn't listen to us, then what? Like, then we could try the other approach, and he would, know basically who to accuse. Like, he would directly, obviously, know that it was
I mean,
probably us that some.
you could be like, you need to be with your loved one here. Take this 50 gold pieces, and go and have a nice time in, I don't know, somewhere town. Crimson Peaks is lovely this time of year.
Yeah.
Oh, go. Or like, fake that he won the lottery or something.
well, he'd be like, "I'll go after this important election,
I wondered if
like Dragon Youth
use-
Supremacy."
wonder if we could use some relationship dice with something to help us with that.
I have no relations with the architect.
Me neither.
Neither. I don't think anyone has.
I mean, I do have with the elves. Maybe we could have them like ask that he do some diplomatic thing, some distance away.
Mm-hmm. Perhaps.
We stack up. Do
We
you
have
have
a-
any of those dice?
We
around?
even have a personal contact in the elf we saved, the one we helped in Longbridge.
Yeah.
He might be convincible enough.
Perhaps.
To distract the guy for 2 weeks.
Mm-hmm.
Or
Important
perhaps.
diplomatic thing. Possible
Perhaps there was some
career
information given, about things that he may find convincing enough without the need of a blackmailing instrument.
Does Graham think that given that he has a die, that he could think of someone who could perhaps basically find some reason to talk to this guy for some place that takes time to go to and time to come back to, as a favor to him.
What
wasting
die are
this
we
kind of
talking
time.
about?
An Elf King die. They have an embassy. They do like diplomatic stuff. They're weird. This guy
Elves.
surely would love to have a personal talk to him because the elf has heard how stern or whatever he is. And
I don't see you having an Elf King dice from last session.
oh,
Well, I could use mine. I believe I have.
Last session, I have you marked down as a positive Jarl 6, and that's it.
right.
Which you've already used.
Yeah, it must be an artifact then. I'll delete it then. I don't remember.
Right, Sip? I believe I
Uh,
have a 6 with the Elf King.
You sure do. So, what exactly are you suggesting here?
Well, there could be some. Well, actually, my thought was that you know how there is an elfin embassy here, maybe,
Yeah.
and I have been going there quite a bit actually lately. And there may have been some information about him that I could use in some way to kind of, you know, give him a good reason to go far away for a while.
I don't understand. You already have like any argument that you want to make for blackmailing him. How is using a 6 going to give you more incentive to somehow make a compelling case for him?
Yeah,
Perhaps
I
it's
don't-
not going to be
nonsensical for me.
blackmail. Perhaps it's going to be something that, you know,
And
something that
also,
he's
here's a
looking
picture of
for.
your daughter.
Or-
I find it to be superfluous, nonsensical even.
No, that's the thing.
Yeah,
It doesn't have to be blackmail anymore.
Well,
It can
the
be
elves
something that
don't.
he's
don't
doing.
You
Something that he
you
wants.
attempting to strong arm a person certainly does count as that. Like, can
Well,
you give me anything more?
either
Lord?
Either way, the elves neither have blackmail available, nor do they have the magical password that makes the ambassador do what you want. They can give you a bit of information about him, sure, but that's about it.
Well, I guess information could help at this point.
The hope was there was some sort of bureaucracy they could pull, like, oh yes, we need an important dude from this place to. There's been an incident in the embassy, and now we need you to sign papers and do shit.
I don't really think they have the like cross authority of the Elf King to command what the architects people do.
Yeah, probably.
Yeah,
But, you know, information to ease up the whole convincing him to leave, perhaps.
Like Ambassador Rin being a small pudgy Tanadim.
well, that among other things. The elves can also tell you that he is a rather what's the word? Zealous, perhaps, bureaucrat. He likes to do things by the book to the point where he doesn't do anything that's not in the books, whatever his books may be. I could also tell you that. Wow, I lost my train of thought completely. Jesus Christ. I'm going to blame that on the heat. They can also tell you that he is not really the one making decisions around here. He is the one who relays information, who relays what's happening, and then does the exact same thing the other way around, relaying the decisions that have been made elsewhere. He is the eyes and ears, essentially.
I see. Okay, then that information will be relayed, of course, to everyone else. So I'm to assume that he actually, you know, takes the actual orders from probably Coppergate, I suppose, directly. Is anybody here good with bureaucracy?
I'm not.
No,
I try to avoid it generally
we have killed it
in my line of
literally.
work.
We have come across it and killed it so far.
I mean,
I do not think there is any need to exercise bureaucracy in order to handle the situation. I can handle the situation.
Oh, okay, go ahead.
All right then. Good. Perfectly happy.
that was what Graham was hoping for. He would talk to the guy, but doesn't seem like an easy to convince kind of person.
Anrakin and Demes could have visited him in the night.
Yeah, you know, no, no, maybe not that.
Maybe don't.
He doesn't sound like a bad guy, even if he has opinions that Graham doesn't agree with.
Yeah, we would be like.
Anyway,
rude.
if Fancy says that she'll handle it, then Graham will thank her for it.
In the
Trust
in
that
the
she can.
at the night outside, yes, Fancy says, I know him.
Well, she's certainly the most charismatic here, so
Anrican looks at her
Or-
searchingly, frowning slightly, and says, well, Fancy, if you wish to take this upon yourself, then that would be amazing.
I know who he is. I do not think I will have too much difficulty.
Nods. Alright then. If you need us to help with anything, do tell.
I do not think that is necessary. I have seen how capable some of you are at discussing things with others.
Gil is gonna look away.
We should return
Right.
to the. We should return to the tavern. There's probably gonna be a long day tomorrow. So
Yes,
the
yes.
others. Yeah. Let's get some sleep. She gives him a disarming smile. To move towards the cat and the cucumber. Even though he doesn't sleep, you know.
There we go, kid. Alright, alright. There we go. I pulled myself through the darkness. Woof. That was close. I was almost eaten forever.